that later in our service. But for now, we begin our service on page 128, Hine Matov, how wonderful it is to be together. Hine Matov, umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. We read on page 124 together. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these halls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. To light our candles, we invite the president or head chair of the advisory council, Billy Marsala, to do us the honors. And everybody else on the council, come on up. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav metzivanu lehatlik ner lehatlik ner shel shachar rise for our Kiddush on page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav meratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'asei bereishit, ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, zeichel yitziat Mitzrayim, ki banu bacharta be'otanu kidashta mikol hamim, b'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Please be seated. Thank you, everyone. We read on page 127. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace, and we sing the beginning of Kabbalat Shabbat, Psalm 95 on page 130, Lechu Neranena. Lechu Neranena l'Adonai, Nariya, Litzur Yisheinu. Lechu Neranena l'Adonai, Nariya, Litzur Yisheinu. Nekadma fanav betoda bizmirot nariya lo, ki el gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher beyado mechkerei aretz metoafot arim lo, asher lo hayam dehu asahu, meyabesh et yadav yatsaru, ki hu Eloheinu v'anachnu amarito v'tzon yado. 138, the pinnacle of Kabbalat Shabbat. Sing with me, Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לכאן דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לכאן דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלחקים, מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשם בתחילה. לכאן דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לכאן דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לכאן דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לכאן דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. We rise to welcome the Shabbat Queen. בואי ושלום עטרת מעלה, כאן בשמחה וצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לכאן דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לכאן דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Page 145. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. On the opposite page. יתקדל ויתקדש שמרבה, בעלמא תברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחי לכל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם, ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה בנחמתה דמירן בעלמם, נאמרו Amen. For those who are able, we rise for the Baruch Hu. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Please be seated. On page 148. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name, ever-living God. May you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. On the next page. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavtam, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shokbeinu uvkumeinu, nasiach mechukecha, nenismach medivrei Toratecha, ub'mitzvotecha leolam ba'ed, ki heim chayenu be'orech yameinu, ubahem nehgeh yomam ba'layla. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam Ba'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, לחיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם emet. Our Song of Redemption on page 158, Mi Chamocha. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef elem, Nora tehilot osef elem, Adonai yimloch leolam ba'ed. Malchutecha ra'u banecha bokea yam libnei Moshe u'Miriam, Se'eli anu ve'amru, Se'eli anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch leolam ba'ed. Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai, Yai dai 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 dai. 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Mehamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Mehamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Mehamiteinu shomreinu We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. V'shamru. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam merit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam le'olam, ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim et haaretz ubayom hashmi shavat mayi nafash. For those who are able, we rise for our tefillah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevii Geula Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Be'ezerat Sarah, atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei metim atah Rav leHoshia, Morit hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei metim berachamim rabim, Tzomech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al geburot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata lehachayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hametim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. If it's your tradition, please be seated. We read on page 173 together at the top. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. On the next page. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu Be'amcha Yisrael U'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel U'tehi l'ratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha El Karov Lechol Kore'af Enei Elafatecha Bechoneinu Shefoch Ruchacha Betechesena Eineinu Beshuvcha Letzion Berachamim Baruch atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinato Let's see. We read together on page 179. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Atahu melech adon lechol hashalom ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom betom beinecha levarech את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. We take a few moments for private meditation. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable before you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, me'imeru, me'imeru. It's at this time in our service that we think of those in our community who are in need of healing, of body or spirit. The congregation sends its well wishes to Linda Applebaum, Margaret Bell, Bert Bloomston, Chase Callahan, Harold Seitlin, Deborah Chargois, Orit Cohen, Karen Edwards, Edward Goldberg, Jeffrey Goldman, Sandra Goldman, Miriam Goldstein, Fran Curry Harrington, Josie Hatfield, Emily Held, Evelyn Held, Donald Himmel, Ralph Holtzman, Corey Kessler, Ruth Lishkoff, Zane Mondlik, Malka Batrachel, Lyra Richards, Arvin Robinson, Susan Schumann, Leslie Simon, Christy St. Charles, Don St. Charles, Brenda Weinstein, and Edgar Zimmerman. If you are thinking of someone else you love and want to share their name, please feel free to do so. For all those mentioned and those still in our hearts, we sing Misha Berach on page 371. May the source of strength, who blessed the the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheperach imotenu mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. The events of this week's Torah portion, Parshat Naso, are not the most immediately captivating. There's a census of sorts going on, with God telling Moses to list the service that each family should undertake for the good of the community and for God. There's Nazirite law as well, explaining the prohibitions one would have if one were living as a Nazir. And there's Aaron blessing the people using the priestly benediction, or receiving the words for that. It's all important stuff, but not the most exciting. There's no action. So why does this all get its own portion? And what does that have to do with tonight and our temple circles? Because of course, every week there has to be a connection with real life and the Torah. This week's portion has everything to do with that. It's all about the glue that holds our community together. If we want to serve our community, we have to figure out who's in it, first of all. And then we have to cater to its specific needs. That's what the census was accomplishing, and that's what Temple Circles is all about. It's about making sure all members of this community feel as if they have a place here, they have a family here at Temple. How we can all work together to better ourselves individually and as a temple community as a whole. There's certainly sacrifice involved too. It's hard work to maintain that glue's sticking power. Our Temple Circles Advisory Council has elected to do that work. Each leader has chosen to do the work necessary to keep our family life vibrant here. The commitment to become a Nazir is a fitting analogy as well for those doing the work. Not that they've decided to grow their hair and refrain from drinking wine, but rather this. Some Israelites were tasked with priesthood because they were born into the priestly class, but others couldn't serve as priests, and thus they weren't able to. So maybe they would have decided to become Nazirites. They chose to take on the very similar restrictions that a priest would have without the benefits, so that they could serve the people and God to the best of their abilities. You volunteers are the Nazirites of this community. Without you, the community falls apart. And so we honor you here tonight. And without further ado, I'd like to invite the chair of our Temple Circles Advisory Committee, Billy Marsala, to speak about all the good that's come about because of Temple Circles in the past year, and all the good it will continue to do. The floor is yours.
Shabbat Shalom. Hine matovu manachim shevet achim gam yad. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to dwell together. In that spirit, I'm here to talk about Temple Emanu-El's Temple Circles initiative. The concept of Temple Circles, small groups, if you will, came with Marilyn Rodstein, where she began shepherding this initiative in the fall of 2018. With quick turnaround, we started our pilot program in the spring of 2019, and our first official regular session was in the fall of 2019. Our second session began in February 2020. Then everything changed. And I would argue that temple circles became even more important to our community. As all of you know or suspect, I am not a native of this specific Jewish community. I arrived here in late 2014, and those of you who do know me know that I am a very outgoing person. I am an extrovert's extrovert. I am so extroverted that if I'm talking to you, I don't know if you're an introvert because you're talking to me back. All this to say is, I'm not shy. And it was hard for me to make friends within our Jewish community. And I didn't really truly start making friends in our Jewish community until Temple Circles. And I made a lot of the friends that I have today during a pandemic. Now, this is a big claim, but there is something about inviting people into your homes or having them invite you into their homes that can create a space where you can get to know each other on an intimate level. Tonight, we are on the Bima to recognize the leaders who continue to shepherd this program forward. Temple staff who shepherd it, the Temple Circles Advisory Council, and of course, our Temple Circles coaches and leaders. We will be hearing from what the leaders have said about the Temple Circles, what they have brought to their lives. But let me share what I have heard in the comments. I have known so-and-so for a long time, but we never really got to know each other or developed a friendship until Temple Circles, until we were in this together. And before we officially begin recognizing our leaders, let me remind you that participating or leading a Temple Circle is a 6-time commitment over a multi-month period. That is it, 6 times. We have cooked together, we have hiked together, we have read together, we have shared our lives with one another, 6 gatherings at a time. Hina matovu manachim shevet achim gam yad. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for us to dwell together, one temple circle at a time. I'd like to begin our leadership appreciation by recognizing our Temple Circles Advisory Council. Jesse Bates, I'm hoping you're watching from home. Then we have Julie Stein, Melissa Harris, Marilyn Rothstein, Sylvia Wright, and Susan Koretsky. This group, along with Monica Singletary and the other Temple staff, have worked hard to further this initiative, and it really shows. Some on the Advisory Council also serve as coaches to leaders. They will be recognizing the leaders that they coached and saying a few words about each. Leaders, when your names are called, please come up to the Bima. And we ask that you stay on the Bima until everyone is recognized so that the cantor may give you a special blessing. Okay, let's begin. I was coached last session as well, and I would like to recognize those I coached and those leaders who did double duty as both coach and leader of their own group. The first group I'd like to recognize is Emily and Steve Lawrence. I think I saw them come in. They are newer to the community and agreed to lead a group called Barks and Brachas. Isn't that just a fun name? Now, life got in the way and the circle didn't actually happen. However, we want to send a heartfelt thanks for the attempt to lead this temple circle, and we hope that you'll consider leading a temple circle in the future. Thank you. I haven't met him in person. Next up is Wendy Taylor, who led Nosh and Kibbutz. Did I say it right? Okay, Kibbutz, a group focused on Jewish food and local restaurants of interest. She's another non-Birmingham native who wanted to start a group to meet people within the community. I don't believe she is here today. She is here? No, I don't believe she's here today. So Wendy, if you're watching, we want to thank you for leading this group. Charles Stein, come up and join your wife on the Bima. Our coach, Julie Stein, along with her husband, Charles, who's heading up here right now, led the group Davin and Dine, a group that enjoyed services together then found a nearby restaurant afterwards to get to know one another. What Julie said about her Temple Circles experience. Charles and I have always enjoyed attending Friday night services at the end of the week to welcome Shabbat with the beautiful voice of the cantor and the inspiring words of the rabbi. It has been wonderful with David and Dine to experience services together with a group of friends. Even though we've lived in Birmingham all of our lives, we have gotten to know so many people so much better and developed new relationships and friendships through our circle. We've also sampled Birmingham's restaurants with delicious Friday night dinners after services. Thank you, Julie and Charles, for leading Davin and Dine Temple Circle. Thank you. They each get one. They're a couple, but you know. Earl, please join your wife on the bima. Where's Earl? Oh, there he is. Our coach, Marilyn Rothstein, along with her husband, led the group Havdalah Under the Stars. Just as it sounded, the group met and closed out Shabbat with a Havdalah service, usually in an outdoor setting. What she has to say about Temple Circles. Being involved with our Temple Circles initiative has allowed us to transition from dues-paying members to really being a part of our Temple family and feeling like we truly belong. Earl and I have loved leading Havdalah Under the Stars. The friendships that have grown during our 3 sessions are truly amazing. Thank you, Marilyn and Earl, for leading Havdalah Under the Stars. Barry, join your wife on the bima, please. Yeah.
Come on, Barry.
Barry, don't be shy. Come on. Finally, our coach, Susan Koretsky. Along with her husband, Barry, led stories, music, laughter, and games. If you like uncontrolled laughter, she's your leader. What she has to say about her Temple Circles experience. Temple Circles has been a huge success. Barry and I have led stories, music, and laughter 6 times over a 3-year period. She's one of our OGs. These last 2 times we added games to the agenda, and it has been so much fun. Each of our unique groups have benefited from new friendships, interesting conversation, and deeper connections with Judaism. We have laughed, enriched each other's lives, and engaged in valuable time spent together, all while socializing, dining, and sharing moments that will be remembered forever. Temple Circles is a powerful tool that inspires, motivates, and encourages our congregation to become closer. Our expressive and colorful experiences are our strongest assets. The caring and supportive relationships formed in Temple Circles make it a win-win for all. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Barry, for leading stories, music, laughter, and with the newly added games. These are the leaders that I am recognizing. Before I turn things over to the next coach, I would like to say that if you're interested in learning more about how to lead a Temple Circle, how to join a Temple Circles, anybody on this bima can help you, as well as Monica. And now, I want to welcome to the podium, Julie Stein. Thank you.
First, I'd like to recognize my David and Dine Circle, who's here with us tonight. Great to see you for our last meeting. And the first coaches I want to talk about are Linda Barstein and Andrew Sperling, who led Walking with Intention. Linda's in Israel and Andrew, I believe, is in DC, so they're not with us tonight. But the Walking with Intention group went on walks all over Birmingham, from Highland Avenue to Railroad Park to the Botanical Gardens. And at each walk, members set an intention for the walk, which could be appreciation of being in nature, meeting new people, or gratitude for the blessings that we have. So Linda Barstein, when I asked her why did she lead the circles, she said, because you asked me to. So I'm appreciative of Linda for saying yes when I asked her. And Linda has been involved in Temple Circles before in the hiking group, and this time she stepped up to become a leader. And even though Linda grew up in Birmingham and grew up at this temple, she lived away from Birmingham for many, many years after college, and she only returned back a few years ago. Linda says the Temple Circles have given her an opportunity to reconnect with the Temple members that she grew up with, but also to let her get to know people she knew by name but not very well before. I really appreciate Linda for her flexibility in working with the Circle to make sure that the routes were enjoyable and that everybody was able to do them and have an intention for each walk. So I'm sorry she couldn't be here tonight, but I appreciate everything she did. Andrew Sperling also was someone who grew up in Birmingham in this community at Temple Emanu-El and then moved away for many, many years. During the pandemic, Andrew had an opportunity to work remotely, and he came back to Birmingham to live, and he immediately joined several of the Temple Circles so that he could reconnect with people and meet people in Birmingham again. And so having led the walking circle, he said, was a fantastic way for him to reintegrate himself back into Temple Emanu-El and the family and also make new friends. He contributed to many of the walks with all of his knowledge of the history of Birmingham as we walked. And actually, Linda and Andrew both look forward to participating again and leading the circle in the fall. So I really appreciate them. So next, I'd like to call up Lisa Bevedek, who led the cooking circle. So Lisa also has been involved with the cooking circle previously, and this time agreed to step up to lead the circle, which mostly, due to the pandemic, met during via Zoom with one of the members cooking the recipes and everybody else actually being on the camera making them along together, and so that we could show what we were doing and learn what we were doing wrong. And the cooking group made some delicious dishes, everything from stuffed cabbage to blintzes to Sephardic sugar cookies, among other favorites. And actually, the last few we did have in person. We made blintzes in person, and we'll have a potluck next week to end the circle. So Lisa, I really appreciate you leading the circle and stepping up to be a leader. Lisa says she really enjoyed leading the circle with a great group of women that we had who she got to know better. And she also learned how to make a lot of great new recipes as we shared recipes together that she says she'll continue to make in the future. So I want to thank Lisa for her leadership in making it such a fun, delicious group. Thank you. And last but not least, I'll call Billy back up. So the third circle, which I participated in as well, was Lech Lecha, Go Forward, which was the hiking circle, led by Billy Marsala and Mike Honan. The group actually went on hikes all over Birmingham, and we also went to Ruffner Mountain, Oak Mountain, Moss Rock, and also had a Shabbat weekend hiking at Guntersville State Park, which was really a lot of fun. And for this time, for our Jewish topic, Billy and Mike chose to use a book, which is Everyday Holiness, that explores the Jewish spiritual path of the Musar. And we talked about various topics such as gratitude, equanimity, patience, humility, loving kindness, which are all the Jewish virtues. And it was really, really interesting. And I have to say, I treasure that book and have learned so much from our talks during the walks. Mike is really our resident Jewish expert and does a great job leading the discussions and wanting to discuss the Jewish aspects while we're hiking and leading Jewish learnings during the hike. Mike even leverages his interest in the far side as part of our Jewish learning. And I have to say, I now have an appreciation of being able to interpret far side cartoons, which I never got before, thanks to Mike.
Yes.
And some of you are laughing because you were with us. Mike has really loved leading the circle. As a matter of fact, he's led it 3 sessions in a row. He loves the outdoors, he loves hiking, and he loves making new friends and being so hospitable and welcoming to all of our temple members, and also sharing his Jewish learning. Billy was the co-leader of this group, and I know Billy loves the outdoors and loves to hike. If you don't know it, Billy is also a wonderful She helps with the Torah study sessions, and so she has an in-depth, a lot of knowledge and loves to study. And so she helped co-lead several of the discussions in our chapters in our hikes. And Billy really loved hiking and developing new relationships. Every time I was there, she would be off with someone different, trying to get to know them on each hike and spending a lot of quality time with them. As we usually hike for several hours, she got to know them better. And really, she really put the energy in taking the time and getting to build these relationships, which she enjoyed. So I appreciate so much all of your leadership on the hiking circle. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to turn it over to the next. Is that you? Oh, Susan. Susan's next. I'll turn it over to Susan.
I coached 2 circles and led a circle during the same time frame. Jan Hirsch, if you will please come forward. I'm just going to talk while you're coming forward. Jan, your circle was named Take a Breath, Shabbat Dinner for Empty Nesters. You have been with Temple Circles since its birth. You lead with warmth and sincerity. Barry and I attended one of your get-togethers. It was terrific, very well planned and thought out. You are the best. Thanks for your dedication and commitment to this worthy program. Go get your gift. Of course. We can hug. We can hug? Yeah, we can hug. Okay, thanks. Peter Bain, if you would please come forward. The name of Peter's circle was Crafting, Lettering, and Calligraphy in both English and Hebrew. Peter, you are a pro. You attracted adults and teenagers to your Temple Circle. I attended one meeting and enjoyed it so much. You researched, brought all the necessary materials, and taught with confidence and a great knowledge of your subject. Thanks, Peter, for your enthusiasm and involvement in Temple Circles. You can go get your gift. We can hug. Okay. Thanks so much. My notes will appear. Somewhere up here. Shabbat Shalom. So I'm so proud to call up Jennifer Frank, and I will also speak while you're walking up. Jennifer co-chaired Books and Bagels with Laurie Elmitz. Laurie could not be here tonight, but I'm thrilled to let you know what both of them had to say about their first Temple Circle experience, leadership experience. Jennifer says, being a Temple Circle's co-leader has provided an avenue of connection back to the Temple for me. In addition, our group has succeeded in reading and discussing books on a wide range of themes, resulting in connection and friendship among our diverse members. Laurie says, I thought organizing a book club through Temple Circles would be a fun, interesting way to connect with Temple and possibly meet other members. Co-leader Jennifer and I had fun working together on this. It was gratifying to see how Circle members engaged with each other in our book discussions. Discussions were spirited, and participants shared responsibility for selecting books and leading discussions. We're very happy that we did this. Hopefully, more members will join book club in the future. Jennifer and Laurie have already committed to leading this circle for our next session. So thank you, both of you. Vicki Luger and Elise Erdberg, my apologies, led a circle called Where the Winds Blow. It's a Mahjong group. Vicki led and loved leading Where the Winds Blow for a second session, and this spring, Elise joined her as a co-chair, her first time at leading a circle. Elise says, I think the most important thing I got from the circles was meeting members of our temple and developing friendships. I also feel the circles helped me feel closer and more connected to the temple. I learned the value of small groups when they are incorporated into a large organization. Zoom even had the advantage of including people who could not get to the meeting due to time, distance, health, or other issues. Vicky says, Temple Circles enabled me to meet other Jewish people in our community and to get to know them on a very personal level. Elise and Vicky have also committed to leading this circle again for our next session. Thanks to both of you. Jesse Bates, who could not be here tonight, but hi, Jesse, led Loving Our Multicultural and Interfaith Families as members of our Jewish community. He led it 6 times. He shared, on Friday night, we often read, as we did tonight, let us walk with good companions, with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts. Temple Circles is a great place to do just that, to find those good companions. These last 2 years have been especially hard on each of us. Circle is an important place to share our life experiences, to support each other, to walk hand in hand. Thank you, Jesse. Now, we have one more. So, Billy, you need to come up here again. And last, but certainly not least, Billy Marsala.
Hi, I'm Billy.
Yeah. She's also chair of our Temple Circle Advisory Council. What a great boss. No. Team player, partner, leader. We all know and want all of you to know how Billy, chair of the council, feels about Temple Circles. She has been a committed member of our council since the concept of Temple Circles was born. She is totally dedicated to this incredible engagement initiative and is passionate about every aspect. And for these reasons, she generously offered to become our fearless leader and has done so with humor, so important, and so much grace. It certainly isn't easy balancing a full-time job, a family life, various volunteer committees, and Temple Circles. Billy, please accept this as a token of our appreciation for keeping Temple Circles strong, leading it from strength to even greater strength. Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to invite all of our leaders before the ark, and we're going to try to put this very, very large talit over all of you. So please rise. We're doing our best here.
This is where the humor comes into play.
It's close. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha God illuminate the almighty countenance for you and favor you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha Shalom. Shalom. May God lift up God's face toward you and grant you peace. Say, Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be so. You all are wonderful, thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. Not too bad. I'm kind of the worst about this. We rise for Aleinu on page 586. Aleinu l'shameach l'adon hakol, lat'it gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, megor aleinu kechol hamonam. Ba'anachnu koreim u'mishachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamelachim hakadosh baruch hu. B'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Please be seated. We think of those in our community whose yard sites fall this week. Milton Abrams, Ike Adler, S. Joseph Alper, W. B. Bennett, Ann Bowman, Esther Brodowski Brenner, Helen Kaufman Broda, Philip Brodnax, Anna Paula Cohen, Conrad Cypress, Leah Elsis, Irving Epsman, Lawrence Claster Falk, David Feldman, Pauline Hirsch Fine, Miriam Goldstein Fleischer, Walter Gerson, Elise S. Goldman, Joyce Rutstein Gowan, Dave Handler, Marcia Goldberg Handler, Israel Jaffe, Bernie Kahn, Morris Carpeles, Harry Cardis, Jack Cardis, Sheila Klein, Nellie G. Copeland, Sybil Green Landau, Irene Lebowich, Saul Leland, Roslyn T. Levine, Jack J. Levinson,